Good morning all, Stephen Rowlands here. Well, it's copy time. I haven't done one of these for a while, but I'm just sort of like trying to see if I can get comments up at the moment. Okay. Good morning, thank you for joining me. Once again, doing about hello David, hello Frankie. Just seeing if I can get right. I've done it again, haven't I? Right. Okay, just 1 second. I've done it again, haven't I? Right. Okay, just 1 second. I've done it again, haven't I? Hello Kev, how you doing? I can see comments now, so here we go. Hello, good morning and welcome to Copy Time. I haven't done one of these for a while, quite a while. It's been quite a journey. Hello Leslie. And I realised that, you know, with Facebook, being on Facebook, I do have a lot online presence. And I haven't done a live for such a long time. It's been a few months, so I stopped doing lives in groups. Hello Phil. Stopped doing lives in groups because, plain and simply, I was knackered. All right, doing 3 or 4, doing about 2 to 3 platform services a week, and with doing lives, I was just getting way too knackered and working full time. Yes, I'm one of those mediums that works full time as well. Hello, Charlene. Hello, Leslie. So something had to give. I did contact the 2 or 3 groups that I do lives for and say, well, can I cancel lives and, so I can take a break and all the rest of it, and that was that. So I found myself being arrested. Hello, Barbara Ann. Hello, Jim. But I needed to rest, and I think, doing a day's work and then driving 100 miles to do a service. I mean, sometimes I was meditating when I got home. You'd scoff something down to eat, and then, jump in the car. I was falling asleep, whilst in meditation, and luckily I woke up on time. You drive 100 miles to do a service or so, and then come back, and you're drained, and you start work next day. So, I'm 66 in May, so, hello Nicola. I realised something had to give, so I just contacted a couple of groups and said, can I not do lives for you anymore? Maybe, Leslie, I'm thinking about it. But, I do realise I have an online presence. So what was I going to say? Well, life is a journey. And I agree, Barbara Ann, your health does come first. That's why I've slowed right up. But I do realise I have an online presence. What I was going to say. Anyway, life is a journey. Life is a teacher. And what taught me was getting pneumonia, believe it or not, because it stopped me dead in my tracks. Hello, Chelsea. I'm starting these copy times again. You'll be more than welcome to join me. So will you, Barbara Ann. And I keep meaning to have you on, Kev Sullivan, but we will sort it out, okay? Anyway, I'll keep losing track of what I was going to say, so let's get in with the nitty-gritties. I was stopped dead in my tracks with pneumonia. Even though I drove 248 miles to do a service in Blackburn with pneumonia, because I thought the antibiotics were going to kick in and stuff like that. But funnily enough, during that demonstration of mediumship, I didn't cough and splutter once, or maybe once. But we done it, and anyway, We all do, Chelsea. And anyway, it come to the following week. I was on light duties at work, but I was still getting breathless going up and downstairs. I was doing office work at work rather than being out delivering. And so it just got worse and worse. So I decided to take a week off. And that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Me taking a week off work sick. Because it gave me time to regroup and think. Okay, and now I realise that I'm not as young as I used to be. 30 years ago, I used to do this workload standing on my head. But now I can't, right? So, for about 4 days, I was just suffering with pneumonia. I thought, well, what can I do with this 4 days? With this 7 days off? So I thought, I know, I can meditate and do some writing. So I'd done some healing meditations, but the writing just wouldn't come. And it got to sort of like day 5 of the 7 days off, and all of a sudden, my spirit guides told me that they wanted me to put more in my new book, Diversion Ahead, even though I published it. But the beauty of Amazon Kindle is, and yeah, we'll have you on, Nicola. And even though I published my new book, Diversion Ahead, which is available on Amazon. Sorry about the shameless plug. But they wanted me to write more about my life and my experiences. So currently, I'm putting more of my life and experiences into my book. The beauty of Amazon Kindle is you can add to the manuscript, so you just upload it. It comes out as a new version. Anyway, so that was that. So I started writing, and I'm still continuing to write. But, and then I went back to work, and I'm enjoying not doing as many services. I know that people will think, how can you not enjoy it? Yes, I do enjoy doing them while I'm doing them, but it's just being tired all the time and being drained of energy. And my spirit guides, you should write a book, Nicola. Hello, Cindy. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. That's very professional, isn't it? That's what I was going to say. What I was going to say. But I do enjoy doing services when I do them, because to me, as a medium, it's an act of love to spirit to channel their messages. It's also an act of love to the person receiving the message. So it's all about love. And it brought me to this question, because many people have thoughts on what mediumship is, don't they? Quick slurp of coffee, because it is coffee time. And I've seen 2 or 3 mediums recently talking about what mediumship is. And not that I disagree with them at all, but I'll just give you my own slant on it. And I've been drawn to say it in the past 3 or 4 services. Basically, mediumship isn't about proving survival. That's my opinion. Okay. Mediumship, as taught by spirit guides, is to bring upliftment, to bring guidance, upliftment, to bring healing, and all that kind of thing. If you can tell me your thoughts on that, that'd be great. Evidence should only be used just so that the person receiving the message knows who's there, knows who's communicating with them. We're looking at next month, Leslie Bell. But anyway, I shouldn't look at both screens really, because with Facebook Live you have to use 2 screens, don't you? But one for comments and one for talking to. But so I see my role as a medium. I have done for years and years, as taught by spirit guides in Circle, that my job is to bring upliftment, healing, and comfort and guidance and all that kind of thing. And that when I give someone a message, the evidence is there enough so that the person knows who's communicating. But what's most important is the message that they want to give, whether it be from a spirit guide or it be from a loved one. So I'm one of these mediums that will bring spirit guides in. And thank you, but Leslie, but I always refer back to when somebody pays me a compliment. I always refer back to the teaching, be humble in service. All right. So I try to remain humble. I'm just a channel. But people have also been reminding me that without you, Spirit couldn't channel through you. So I take thanks for that. So thank you. Anyway, where was I? I keep losing my place, don't I? But anyway, that's what mediumship is to me. So when we're out and about, whether we're doing private readings, we're demonstrating live online, or doing church services, or whatever we're doing, wherever we're doing. I agree, Sheila, it is about giving, because this is another slant to it, Sheila. When I do a service or a private reading, I'm giving my time. When I'm channeling healing, Spirit keep reminding me that I am a trance healer and I should do more. I do when asked, put it that way. Anyway, Sheila Covey says, mediumship is about giving. It's very, very true. You give of your time. You give your energy. I wish some people would realise that, Do you know what I've been saying a lot over the past year or two? I've been saying people, like congregations. I know people call them all audiences now, but I'm still old school, so I call them congregations. Is that I've been to work, I've driven the 100 miles to do this service, I'm knackered. So I don't want to see straight faces or pulling faces at me or shaking heads or anything when I'm giving messages. Just please answer yes, no, or I don't understand. And I still cannot believe that in this day and age that I have to say that to people. Anyway, Leslie Bell comes up. Sorry, not comes up. Sorry, Leslie. Leslie Bell is saying it's all about love. Yes, as the fabric of the universe is love, as God is love, and all creation stems from that, what we call God, that creation, it is all about love. It's not about looking good, and having loads of people in front of you and all the rest of it and making loads of money. I think spiritualism turning into an industry was a big mistake. That's me personally wrong. That's me personally what I think. Others will disagree with me, but there you go. That everybody's got the right to disagree. But on the other hand, I see the positive side of the spiritual industry. It's bringing out more. It's bringing it more known to people. People are becoming aware that, spiritual teaching, guidance, healing, upliftment is available to them through what we call the spiritual industry. I don't like calling it an industry. That's why that's why I still work for a living. You know what I mean? But yes, Leslie, you're very right. It's all about love. Leslie, I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons that put me off doing lives. Morning, Pat. One of the reasons that, hello, Olive, put me offline is, and I see these posts many times on Hands of the Angels where an admin such as yourself or Lisa will get on and talk about the constant interruptions and all this anything for me and all the rest of it. And it is and as I know you're aware, Leslie, that as a medium, it's very difficult doing a live when you're trying to give somebody a message and there's just constantly people shouting anything for me. And that's one of the reasons that put me off doing lives, as well as needing to have a break. All right. But I know Leslie and Lisa and Tracy on Signals from Heaven are doing their best to sort of like, hopefully, get people to behave better. That's what I like about church service. You only need to talk unless the medium's coming to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, and as you can appreciate, Leslie, it's very hard for the medium, no matter how good you are. We're communicating with spirit, and to hold that link, because that's what I call it, holding the link, to hold that link with a spirit communicator and the person you're giving to reading is very difficult. And I wish more people would realise that. Hello, Janet. How you doing, darling? Definitely having you on. All right. Janet's a medium friend who I love to bits, and I have some great conversations with her on coffee time. Right. Right. What's young Cindy Woodside saying? I'm just gonna, because this is about Q&A. I can't see the rest of your comment. Right. Some say it is a gift, but it sure is a gift. Yes, I agree. Being trusted with such abilities has to be amazing as well as overwhelming. I'm trying to see the rest of that, but it won't let me see the rest of your comment, Cindy. But yes, it is a gift, because the reason I say it is a gift, and I'm agreeing with young Cindy here, is because you have the opportunity to bring some love into the world. You have the opportunity to bring some kindness in the world. You have the opportunity to bring some compassion into the world. You have the opportunity to bring some spiritual teaching that will help people to live their lives in a better way. And sometimes I just sit back and I just go, wow. And I'm sure many other mediums do as well. Just sit back, well, when you can see the upliftment in people. You'll have come up and thanked you and said, oh, that's really helped out, and I really needed to hear from Dad or Granny or whatever. So it is a gift. And don't forget, we've been chosen. Spirit have gifted us with this. So I'm agreeing with you 100%, Cindy. Let's see if I can see the rest of your comment. It won't go up and down. Oh, God. Right. Yeah, people need to realise that, Leslie, we do it for free. Okay, I saw an angry face there. Okay, I'm upsetting somebody. Oh, dear. Right, okay. But this is only my point of view. All right, I know others will disagree with me. But it is a gift. And we share that gift. We are chosen by Spirit to give all these beautiful, wonderful things. And or even on a church service. You're only charging you for your petrol, so basically you're doing it for nothing. But never mind the tyres and the exhaust and everything like that in your engine. I mean, I'm even cutting back on platform services because I've got a brand new car. I got a brand new car last March. I've had it just over a year. And I was supposed to do 12,000 miles in it. So far, I've done 19,000 miles. So I'm cutting back on the long distance work. Just because I will pay 9p a mile over my allotted, what's the name? I know that's nothing to do with mediumship and spirituality and all the rest of it, but I'm just giving the reasons why I've been cutting back. Okay, one's tiredness and help, and the other one's, keeping my mileage within limits. But yeah, we do give our time for free. The only time I charge, is for a private reading. I don't charge for healing, but I do charge for spiritual guidance and a reading, because I just feel that that they're paying for your time, basically. Because you have to sit and prepare, you have to meditate and all the rest of it to create that link for the person to have. I'm thinking it's heading that way, Patrick. I really do. But there you go. Anyway, back to Leslie's comment. It's all about love. It surely is. And as mediums, we have to work on the vibration of love. Because I'm always saying that we have to create the conditions for spirits working. And that is love. But it's not like love like I have for my girlfriend, or for status quo, or for my children. It's unconditional love. It's pure unconditional love. And part of my own personal spiritual development, yeah, people are allowed to disagree, Shane. I like people to disagree, but I'd rather they told me why they disagree. All right, and have a conversation about it, because that's how we learn. You know, because I'm sharing my truth, and I do coffee time so others can share their truth. And in the middle, we learn something, don't we? In the middle of all that, even if we disagree, within the middle, we learn something. You know, yeah, I think there should be respect for mediums for what they do. I'm not just saying that because I'm a medium, but you know, because we do put ourselves out, basically. You know, but funnily enough, I do say to people, this is not a celebrity show. You know what I mean? That's me taking a Michael. All right. Yeah, I like doing the locals. I did a service the other night, and she said, "Oh, you travel a long way, but it's only an hour over in North Oxford." And I said, "Well, this is a local to me." You know what I mean? But yeah, just have the respect that the persons hold their carcass to your life or your church or centre, and they're giving spirit to you, and they're allowing spirit to use them for you. So there should be respect just for that. It's when ego comes in and we're doing it to look good, or to gain more followers, or to get more sit-ins and all the rest of it. You know. Yeah, I think, Patrick, there's too many that want to be celebrities, so they're doing all that. I actually turned down a geezer for my group, this group, because I'm not going to say his name, but he was sort of like he didn't even bother to answer the membership questions and all the rest of it. But it was sort of like, when I looked at his profile, I'm super duper. You know, I thought, oh, you're not coming in, because all you're going to do is advertise yourself. More people don't realise on my group, I have to approve everything. So I rejected one. I banned one guy from my group because all he did was advertise himself. We didn't know I was seeing the adverts first. Yeah, a lot of people say that to me, Caroline. You know, because we're all unique and we all work in our own different way. You know, which is beautiful in itself. Because spirit developed with us, they're learning as much to communicate with us as we are with them, if you know what I mean, Caroline. And that's why we all work in unique, different ways, and we've all got life paths, and spirit adjusts to all that. You know what I mean? And hello, Jay and Jess, and hello, Carly. Oh, Ruthie, hello, Ruthie. I'm just saying hello to people that are joining us, all 9 of you. Thank you very much. Anyway, a lot of people say that to me, Caroline, that they like watching the way different mediums work, and there are reasons for that, but it's all beautiful. If you're working genuinely, well, that's it. You know, if you've got a plumber in your house, would you expect him to do it for nothing? If he was there for an hour, you'd be paying for an hour of his time, plus parts, you know. So with me, if you're booking me for a reading, you know, you're paying for my time. And the half hour or so that I've spent meditating to prepare for it, you know. But I agree totally. It is all about love, and we need to get back to that. Oh, there's another little angry face. Oh, dear. All right. Okay. It's not letting me see all the comment, Janet. But, yeah. This is another thing about mediumship, Janet, that we are given this knowledge. I'm just saying mediumship, one of my pet things to say is mediumship without knowledge is not mediumship. Just channeling facts, you know, from loved ones, giving evidence from loved ones is not mediumship to me. We are giving this knowledge to share with all others. And it is is a spirit teaching to that all knowledge must be shared. And as you're saying, to help people up with their awareness. That's why I was saying earlier, Janet, that we're there to create upliftment, guidance, healing, comfort. You know, proving survival is about that much of it. Yeah, maybe they're pressing the wrong button, but yeah, it's coming up with a load of them. So yeah, maybe they're just going crazy. But whoever's sending the loves, thank you, because we all love, and as we say, it is all about love. Everything that anybody who channels spirit, it should be done with love and on the vibration of love. You know, and that's it in a nutshell. But I was getting on to my own sort of like spiritual development as well, wasn't I? Quick slurp a copy. I hope you guys have got a copy as well. And because I am a Christian spiritualist, and years ago we used to meditate a lot on Christ consciousness. Well, I brought that back into my life and developing the Christ consciousness within. And yeah, the Christ consciousness is unconditional love, right? But it's made me question a lot my thoughts and my emotions and my actions, which is good. It's that development is helping keeping me in check, you know. Yeah, I mean, Caroline, the church has helped me, but mainly spirit, because I was asked one day who my best friends are, and I said my spirit guides. That's no disrespect to anybody that's friends with me in my personal life, you know. But they've been through everything with me, for all my ups and downs and everything, highs and lows. They picked me up off the floor a few times, you know. So, you know, my best friends are my spirit guides, and I'm so grateful that they walk this path with me, you know. Hello, Kim, long time no see. I hope everything's tickety-boo with you. I really hope so. Right, okay. But like I say, I am a Christian spiritualist. And, alright, I won't ask, alright. If I'm down Hastings way, I'll take you out for a coffee and you can tell me, alright? Anyway, what was I going to say? Christ consciousness, I am a Christian spiritualist, and last week, or was it the week before, Easter Sunday, I was sounding, I was serving Swindon Spiritualist Centre in the Old Town there. And even though it's SNU, I thought it's Easter Sunday, so I'm going to give a talk about Christ consciousness and about the crucifixion and the symbolic spiritual meaning of the crucifixion, all right? And I believe that the greatest act of unconditional love Jesus gave on his crucifixion was that he forgave everybody. Even though he'd been tortured and whipped and crown of thorns on his head and a Roman soldier put a spear in him, he still forgave. I mean, whether you believe in that Christ existed or not, or whether you believe in the teachings of the Bible or not, okay, the life of Jesus gives us so much spiritual teaching, it's unbelievable. But we have to put it into our spiritual practice, don't we? We have to walk that path of love. And Wayne Dwyer said, "Don't be a Christian, be Christ-like." And I think that is the development of Christ consciousness, is to be Christ-like, to think, to feel, and to act with love. And that's very difficult in this world, isn't it? You know I find it very difficult, but it does keep me in check. You know, oops, the comments have stopped. Oh dear, I said something wrong. But anyway, I don't know what you guys think about that. You know, but you know, there's one truth for many teachers. Jesus is one of them, and there's plenty in Jesus' life through his example in that. But whether we believe he existed or not, that can help us on our spiritual path. And that to me is true spiritual development. Linking with spirit is about that much of it. Learning how to give a message from spirit is about that much of it. You know, we have to raise our energy. We have to raise our vibration. You know, and we do that through love. Pure and simple. You know. Yeah, me too, Janet. It was about cross consciousness within, and about what the teachings of Easter, and you know, about the humility Jesus showed when he washed his disciples' feet at the feast of the Passover, and so on. Okay, I agree, Patrick. Right. You take care, Sheila. Have a fantastic Sunday. Oh, it's lovely to see all these Christian spiritualists on here. Yeah, that's another way of looking at it, Kev, but it's what I'm saying. Be the best version of yourself. You know, and that journey to be the best version of yourself is love. You know, like I was saying, that journey for me is really putting me in check. Which brings me on to something I've been thinking about very, very, very recently, is truth. We all live our own truth, don't we? Whether we're, you know, but we seem to adapt our truth to our environment, don't we? You know, when I'm here at home, it's all very spiritual. When my lovely girlfriend visits, it's all very spiritual. But, you know, when I'm at work, I find that I just mirror everybody else at work, you know. But that's not living my truth. So I'm thinking about that now. I've also got a poem in mind. Hello, Sasha Louise. I have to get you on as well. Yeah, I was working up in the office yesterday, and I was talking to the lovely Cara, who works in admin on weekends, and she's a Christian as well, but she goes to the normal Christian church. And what she was saying is that I believe slightly differently to her, you know, where she believes in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and I believe in the, you know, like developing through the life of Jesus, you know, and you know, so we had quite a good chat of it. But you know, there's one truth for many teachers. There's different paths up the mountain, so we shouldn't knock anybody else for what their path is, even though we may disagree. But it's when we start disagreeing and shouting about it, you know, putting people down for the way they think and feel and believe that's wrong. I just think we should accept it, you know, everybody else's truth, even though it's not in line with ours. You know, it's their truth, and we should give them the freedom to express it. So I'm going to take a big brave step, and not adapt to my environment, if you know what I mean, like when I'm at work or, you know, stuff like that. Because I find myself effing and blinding, and, you know, I've been a working man for 50 years, so, you know, like effing and blinding and sort of like, you know, cussing people and stuff like that. Yes, I'm human. I have few human frailties like everybody else. All right, I don't. One of the worst things mediums can do is come across holier than thou. We're not. You know, we live under the same pressures as everybody else. You know, but with reflection and contemplation, Hello, Deborah. Oh, my cousin's on. Uh, with contemplation and everything like that and meditation, it can help us to be more comfortable in our truth and to express that truth. It's like if I get put on a blind round, I'm effing and blinding, and all the rest of it. Rather than thinking it as an opportunity to learn a new round. And I'm going to meet new customers and stuff like that. Yeah, another great spirit teaching is balancing positive with negative, and I think that's a Buddhist teaching as well. I may be wrong. Okay. Yeah, we got a new breed of mediums, Olive. Yeah, I saw one medium on her live. She had a roll up in her gob, smoking it, and she was eating a cake. I'm thinking, really? So where's the respect for spirit, for the link? And stuff like that. And there's times I've nearly let out a word that I shouldn't, but I've held it back. But we shouldn't be swearing because words are energy. We know this. We know words are energy, and sort of like when we're effing and blinding, it's a low energy. And my guys came to me, a few years back, I was shouting and screaming at work and I was effing and blinding. And they said to me, do you realise just how much you're lowering the energy? It's not the actual word, it's the intent behind the word. You know what I mean? Yeah, these people, see, Patrick, Olive, these people have no understanding or no respect. And this is the downside of the spiritual industry. They just see, certain people see it as a money-making machine. So they have no respect. They just want to make money. And they do. I mean, mediums are often criticised for sort of like picking out the vulnerable and all the rest of it. But there are a lot of people, I've seen that through lives, hi Suzanne, I've seen that through lives, there are people that are desperate for messages. So basically you can sit there, drink a beer and tell people any old rubbish. So I said rubbish there, not crap. You can tell people any old rubbish and they will hang on to every word. Yeah, and a roll up, Janet. Right, okay. Right, but so I'm glad that I came up the way that many people do, through church. And through watching the mediums at the time and the etiquette at the time and what was good behaviour and what was bad behaviour and all the rest of it. See, the trouble is with the spiritual industry as well is people want to stand out because everybody's a medium these days, aren't they? It's not allowing me to see more. Yeah, but there's a lady that come to me for a reading about 2 or 3 years back, and she wanted one the following week and the following. And I said, listen, I'm not going to take your money off you. I said, call me in a year or two's time when life's happened to you. But these people who are drinking beers and smoking and effing and blinding, they're just going for the vulnerable people that are desperate for readings from their loved ones or guidance on their life path because everything's going to pot for them. And they're the real desperate ones. So I wish those kind of mediums weren't around. Or no, they're not even mediums, are they? What am I on about? But I wish they weren't around. But they're on their path. It is a learning and evolving experience for them too. So I'm hoping the light and the teaching and the integrity of spirit comes to them eventually. I just think somebody's hitting the wrong button there. Right, but anyway, I must drink more coffee. You lot are keeping me awake. But anyway, next coffee time I do, I'm going to get the lovely Janet on with me because I do enjoy chatting with her. Hello, John. Yeah, it's all geared to money and lights around your name. Whereas the old school teachings, believe it or not, when all this celebrity mediumship come into, Janet said something very important just now. We have to set an example of respect to spirit and the recipients. Of course we do. And Janet, you hit the nail on the head there. And how can we expect spirit to work properly and respect our channel, you know, if we're just treating them as something we can use to gain fame and fortune? That is so wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah, Carolyn brings in a good point. Some people want magic in our lives. Life is magical if you're aware enough. Life is beautiful and magical if you're aware enough. But you have to have that awareness. This is another thing mediums can bring in, is that beauty and that magic of life. You know, that's why I'm still working, Roy. All right. You know what I mean? My income doesn't come from mediumship. You know, I might get 2 or 3 readings every so often, but platform work, I don't make any money off of it or anything like that. But, you know, I still work, so do many other mediums as yourself, you know, and I've never made any money out of it. In fact, because of that 7 days off sick, I'm going to be a bit skint for a month. But anyway, I was going to say, I had a friend who sat in free development circles because they wanted to learn mediumship quickly. I've been demonstrating for 43 years and I'm still learning, right? But she wanted to make money and all the rest of it. Anyway, she went around doing all the fairs. Yes, she was good at what she did, you know. But after a year or so, she said to me, I haven't made any real money out of this. And I said, you won't. You know, and, you know, this is where it's all going wrong when we look for fame and fortune and all this. But yes, there are the odd few people that do. Okay, because people need celebrity. I think there are people that need celebrity. You know, so they will flock to celebrity mediums. I've never had an agent as well. Yeah, but you're an old soldier like me, Roy. You've been going longer than me, haven't you? And yeah, work, home, church, home, you know, and it is very tiring, and I'm realising my age. Yeah, I got into a debate with a medium, no names, no pack drill, but they were saying to me that mediums should be paid a living wage. And not about working in pubs and things like that, which I totally disagree with. You know, because then with being paid a living wage, you get regulation. How can you regulate spirit? You know what I mean? Back in the 80s, I had a QA and QC background. It's like all this accreditation that you got to have. Yeah, that, you know, you say you're working properly at that exam, but it means that, you know, the spirit guides have got to be approved as well. How do you approve a spirit guide? You know, if you do know, let me know. Okay? All right. I'll get my first pension payment June the 20th, which I'm looking forward to. All right, I'm still going to have to work. All right, because my state pension only covers my rent and my council tax, so I'm still going to have to work. You know, but what I'm saying is I'm slowing down. You know, but I've decided that as on Facebook, so I do have a lot online presence. So I'll do lives, Leslie Bell, if you're still around, sort of like once every 3 months, something like that, rather than once a month. Because I do serve 3 groups, or I did serve 3 groups online. Yeah, it's impossible. I don't know if anybody knows how you can regulate spirit. I don't know. You know, let me know. But you can't. So you're just regulating. Yeah, and these certificates and all the rest of it. These certificates and all the rest of it, they're just another money-making thing, same as insurance. Do you know something? I've never had insurance. And do you know what protects me? Because I work with love. I seek, for whatever I'm doing with spirit, I seek the greatest and highest good for the person receiving. Okay? I do workshops, but there again, you know, they're paying for my time. Churches won't book me for workshops. Do you know why? Because I only like a small group of people. They're not making any money. You know, and, you know, whereas, like my understanding mediumship workshop, I'll say 4 or 5 people the most, because it gives you more time to teach to the individual level of understanding. Whereas if you've got 30 people, I have heard of people being sued, Caroline, but they're the ones that have sort of told people that are really, really wrong. You know, or they're doing futuristic messages, this will happen to you, that will happen to you, and it doesn't happen, so they get sued. But if Spirit give me anything futuristic to say, I always say, this is only as advice, and, you know, you've got your own free will to change everything, so if it doesn't happen, you know, you've gone in the wrong direction somewhere, right? Exactly. Jesus didn't show us a certificate. Roy says, Jesus didn't show a certificate, just a will to serve. And that is a real example to us mediums, isn't it? He came and he gave the teachings of universal life and eternal life and nothing. Yes, he had a lot of people around him, you know, followers and that, but he wasn't being paid, was he? You know, they were just feeding him, giving him somewhere to keep the night, you know. Right. Yeah, yeah. I've done one workshop in a church and they took half the fee. But I'm not greedy. My half ended up being what I would earn in a day at work. So I was happy with that. But I'm not going to fill a room up with 30 odd people and just shout information at them because they're not learning anything. Yes, I make money. Yes, the church makes money, but nobody's benefiting, you know. Barbara Ann Winter, yeah, definitely. You know, if you just want to, well, it won't work. You know, if you want to give up work and work full time for spirit, it won't work. All right, but see, to me, if you want to work for spirit full time, you're more focused on earning enough money that week and that month rather than, you know, your spirit connection. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, you're more focused on earning enough money to live. And if that doesn't happen, yeah, I prefer smaller groups. So, like from my understanding, mediumship, I'll have 4 or 5 people. Yeah, and the same with, you know, my spirit guides workshop, 4 or 5 people. In fact, my platform speaker workshop, 4 or 5 people again. So you can teach to the individual level of understanding. So the actual people there are learning something. Yeah, and it's not only me that's teaching from my own experience. You know, I'll get spirit guides involved so that they can, you know, and I'll teach what the spirit guides are saying as well. You know, my coffee's gone cold. I'm really enjoying this. I haven't done one for such a long time, but I'm really, really, really enjoying it. So anyway, you know, I've sort of stated that I'm going to slow up a bit, but I do need to do more online because having a Facebook account, I've got an online presence, you know, so I'm going to contact said groups and ask if I can do like once every 3 months. I would like to, so I'm coming up to retirement, but I know that I've still got to work. But the beauty of it is I will have more time. Have more time to do whatever Spirit need me to do. I think Janet and Roy, I think you're probably the same as me. I'm like a leaf on the breeze with Spirit. I go where I'm put. If somebody phones up and asks for a reading, Spirit have directed that. If a church phones up and wants to book me, Spirit want that. Okay? Well, if you're anything like Chelsea, Leslie, she does the washing up and hoovers while she's listening to me. So, yeah, okay. A lot of people do. They get on with their daily chores and listen to me rabbiting on. And that's good. I think that's important, Janet, because if you're just blurting out information, there's different levels of understanding, so they're not getting anything out of it. Yeah, likewise, it's lovely to be back on. It's lovely to be talking to you guys and girls. But anyway, what was I saying? I've forgotten what I was saying, which is, as I'm nearly 66, that happens quite a lot. But what was I saying? I was saying something to Roy and Janet, but anyway, it will come back. Right, I'll finish this coffee because it's so cold. Right, what was I going to say? So, I'm going to contact the 3 groups I was doing live for and ask if I can do one every 3 months. I haven't got as many platform services this year as I did last year. Do you know last year I did 105 platform services? I'm up to around 70, 80, something like that, and I'm going to keep it like that. All right, I've cancelled Wales to cut down on the mileage. I am going up north this year, but I'll do 3 services up north this year. I've done one already, but honoured Janet. But what it is with that is you stay up there for a week, so I'm rested in between each services. And do you know what? I'll pay for the hotel myself. And I just charge expenses from the hotel to the church. You saw... What did you see, Kim? Sorry, I didn't know what you saw. Okay. Well, I haven't heard nothing from her. Pavency, she said she was going to book me again and she didn't, so there you go. Okay. Right, I'm serving Wigan, doing a trance. I'm serving Clitheroe. That's going to be a demonstration of mediumship. And I'm serving Bradford, which is Bankfoot Church, Leslie. Those are the 3 services I'm doing up north. Yeah, and at my age, it nearly killed me. So that's another reason. I think, like I say, I haven't got the bookings that I had last year. So I think Spirit are looking after me in that way. Oh, the screen on there's gone funny. But anyway, that's probably Spirit telling me to shut up. Right, but anyway. It's good. It's nice that people want to book you and all the rest of it, and people want to see your link with Spirit and stuff like that, and it's great. And obviously, people feel they're getting something from whatever Spirit communicate through me. But hello, Paul. Hope you, Lindsay, and family are okay. Oh, Selena. Oh, Lisa. As I was saying to Leslie, I'm going to be in contact and do a live for you once every 3 months, if that's good. Yeah, something's funny's going on here. Okay. All right, I might have to stop this live. And but I did Blackburn this year as well. Okay, hang on, I'm going to come out of it and see if I can go back in again. Okay, alright. Let's have a look. Go back out and come back in again. Oh, it's not happening. Oh, here we go. Facebook Live again. Oh, let's try it right from the beginning. I'm going to get in touch with Veronica Jenkins again. And, oh, right. Am I back, folks? I'm back. Don't go away. Yeah, I've had a blip, but I'm back now, and it's sort of like playing in slow time now. Okay. Oh, it's gone back down to 4 people. Oh, well. Right, I'm back. Right, so anyway, where was we? I'm going to be in touch with Lisa and I'm going to get in touch with Lisa, Tracy. I've forgotten her name, but I'll get in touch with her. Signs of the Afterlife. You know, and I'm going to start doing lives once every 3 months. Yeah, internet was the issue. Young Kim. Okay. But as far as Paventi goes, you know, they didn't book me, so they didn't rebook me. But that was a good night, that was. Yeah, okay. Alright. But anyway, there's 4 minutes, and what I normally do is I'll read a poem, don't I, in the last bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a poem out to you, and I'll see which one I'm drawn to. Yes, folks, it is one of my poems. As I'll be talking about Christ consciousness, I think I should read out a Christ consciousness poem, don't you? I've just got to find it, because I can never remember where they are. I think it's in colour room. I will find it. Right, I think. Well, I'm not going to read out the one I was going to read out, but Spirit have drawn me to this one, and it's a poem entitled Why. Why should I ask God to help me with my woes? I am well and live a comfortable life, blessed with a connection that has guided me through life's dark and unkind times. Why should I ask God to help me? So many people suffer in so many ways. Why should I seek angelic blessing when so many more are deserving of divine grace to strengthen and uplift them, vanquishing the suffering of this world? God speaks silently to me within my heart. You are the vessel of my love. Rise above your woes, tend to the suffering. Whenever you can, you are my servant to answer the prayers of the suffering through my love and divine will. And I hope you enjoyed the poem. Okay. Because we are divine will, this is something I've been saying. Yeah, I'm 66, I'm May the 29th. Okay. You're a wee slip of a girl, Kim. What was I going to say? We are divine will if we think about it. We are spirit that lives within and around the physical in the material world. We come from the divine. So anything we think, feel and do is divine will, because we are divine will. I'll leave you with that thought, folks. And thank you so much for joining me. It's been wonderful to be back, and it's been wonderful to, chat with you all. And Janet, you will be hearing from me, and I'll set up a coffee time for me and you to do, okay? Anyway, God bless you all. Love to you all. Take care now. Bye-bye.